me feel like a bad girl. Make me feel like a bad girl. Feel like a bad girl.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Belong Arena Clash, Valorant Arena Clash, Week 6. We're here for the first week of playoffs. I am Rook and I'm joined by John P as we're getting ready for a matchup that is looking oh so exciting this evening.
Yeah, I am so excited, Rook. Honestly, I cannot wait. I know yourself, you're hyped to get into this, and I'm just hoping that we follow through after 5 weeks of great action with some amazing playoffs.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how this one goes along, and obviously we got next week coming up as well. But if you're wondering, if you're an Overwatch fan who's randomly stumbled on in here, don't worry, because there will be a recording of the Overwatch playoffs, and it will be played next Monday. A similar idea to what we're doing with the Valorant for next week. So don't worry, you won't have to miss any of that action. And you can see there's a lot of action going on over here. Obviously, Leicester and Maiden City backed Shadow getting that round 1 bye. But obviously, Stratford Spartan Zeus versus Wrexham Reapers Scythe in the other match, which we're not seeing today. But Birmingham Bruisers Vulcan versus Preston Invincibles Dauntless is certainly shaping up to be an interesting match today.
Yeah, I think, you know what, I'm just excited for the playoffs in general, because we've now got to that stage where, you know, these teams can't really afford to come out starting slow, right? It's called the playoffs for a reason. You don't get too many second chances, you know, throughout the normal stages. Yeah, cool, you can go through the first few weeks a little bit slow, start off, maybe lose the first 2 games and still can you know, secure your spot in that playoffs if you win 3 out of the 5 games. But no, nevertheless, I'm really excited to get into this. Obviously, I'm returning from the broadcast. I note to self, don't drink tap water from countries you're not familiar with, because it will definitely send you on the wrong side. But well, speaking about the right side of things, who doesn't love traveling over to the sunny beaches of Breeze to kick things off here for the playoffs? Like you mentioned, we got the Invincibles Doubtless versus the Bruisers Vulcan as well. Talk to me about these team comps here, Rook. Anything out of the blue? We're seeing a Yoru pop into the equation. That's something, you know, a little bit unfamiliar at times.
I mean, he's certainly blue. I'll definitely give you that one. But also fantastic on this map, in my opinion. I think Neon and the Yoru, I think the Neon slightly more. But I think both of these agents are really strong here. There's a lot of space you can take control of. And I think that's why I actually really like to see this here. There are a couple of maps where if I see the Yoru come out, I feel like, honestly, it can be straight trolling. Maps like Bind, like some of the others, people think Bind, or because of teleporters, you got a lot of stuff you can play with. But for me, it doesn't really line up in the same way. However, here on Breeze, because you have the ability to make your own plays with those great flashes and also the ability to take that space, it can be absolutely fantastic. So I'd love to see that. Love to essentially see the Neon come up from Kaz as they're kind of circling around. But then there might be a couple too many duelists on this squad, and you do need a decent amount of utility to make Breeze really work. And we look over to the left side, and you can see that they really understand that. They've got the KO. They've got triple initiator. They know what they want to do.
You literally just took the words out of my mouth. I was like, wait, am I seeing this right? Is that a triple initiator set up on Breeze? This is going to be an absolute nightmare for this attacking half for the squad on the right-hand side, of course. Because, you know, playing against the likes of a Sky and a KO on their own is you know, almost nuisancey enough and a nightmare in its own right. But when you've got a KO, a Sky, and the Fade all in the same team comp, playing behind the likes of a Chamber, and listen, we know McWiff likes doesn't mind getting a little bit aggressive on the Chamber, so we'll be looking out for him to probably sort of take that main duelist. We are seeing 3 initiators on the defensive side and 3 duelists on the attacking side here, Rook. These guys know that you can't agent swap halfway through a map of Breeze, right? Like that's this is a bit of a strange team comp from this attacking side, to say the least. I'm not too familiar with people running triple duelists, but listen, hey, maybe they just want to go a little bit gung ho, go all guns blazing to kick things off here in the playoffs, and who knows, it might work for them.
I mean, it might, right? And the focus of this composition, if you're taking those triple, I say triple, but let's be real. Even when you're running things like the Chamber as well, there is so little kind of utility to kind of play the wider game on this squad as a whole. They're really looking for those individual picks. They're looking to outskill their enemies 1v1. And I'm absolutely here for that. I love to see it. It's a really exciting way to play, but you've got to be hitting your shots. If you're not hitting your shots, you're providing so little to your team. So I'm really surprised to see this, but it can work. It just requires you to be that much better than your opponents. And that's the real test that we're going to see here on Breeze, whether they can do that or not, because otherwise the opponent is going to have so many tools to, frankly, dismantle.
Yeah, well, I've actually just noticed they're only playing off 1 flash on the Yoru as well. The Reyna's fully bought into the Sheriff, and it's a ghost in the hands of the Yoru, so they're only going to have 1 flash available. Louis, though, looks to engage and find the first little bit of contact. It is going to be McWiff who takes the first shots, but Waddle's there to find the shots onto the KO, followed by the second as well, while Kaz joins the party. And, well, we said we might see them go a bit gung-ho and throw everything at this defensive side, and that's exactly what they've done. It's going to be the Chamber of Team Fury to find the final kill onto Chimali, and that's a great start here for this attacking side. And what a way to come out swinging on Breeze, right? Yeah,
absolutely. And we were saying, hey, the way that this team wins is just by being better. And Waddle makes a really emphatic point there that, actually, I believe I am better. Gets 3 frags in the first round and really sets the play. And I love as well that they understand we've got to keep winning. You need that momentum to make this happen. And they're even buying up double, triple rifles even here in the second round. This is, I mean, it's greedy, but sometimes greed is good.
You know, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're feeling your shot right, then why not why not be a little bit greedy? Why not invest fully? But you don't want to invest fully if you're just going to have a shot like that and snap your head off. And that's why the Chamber is such a useful agent to have in the locker. And oh my god, Jordan snuck behind enemy lines, so patient, but Mark's a little bit too intelligent on this occasion. Does get the spike down, no doubt going to rotate his way off of that site and try and play for the lineups. Oh, Louis, don't want to be choking there. Does get tagged up, 11 HP. Dom's going to find the kill. That's a big old rifle dropped towards the middle of the map. So this retake in a 3 versus 3, definitely doable here, Rook.
Yeah, a lot more manageable than they really thought they were likely to find themselves. I don't know if they picked up any of those rifles or anything, but it certainly could be in hand. They've got access to one of them here, but Martz is in a fantastic position, manages to trade 1 for 1 here. Picks up a 3rd frag, no duelist, no problem for those players there, but Team Fury lands a good shot. That rifle's in hand, and Waddle was playing the backfield. So important here. But, while this is a win for the attacking side, we kind of talked about this economy, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, sometimes, you know, it's a risk worth taking to fall by or not fall by. I think we only saw, 2 players buy the rifles into that round, so you still got Waddle, Marks, Kaz can still put their money back into this, and I think they're sort of back, you know, either Louis or Fury, for example. I'd like to see Fury probably lose that Sheriff unless it's been taken from the next round and just use that Headhunter. But either way, I think they've just scaped enough money on the economy to get the full buy through for this round. However, McWiff, unfortunately, not going to whiff the shot, does hit the body, but Louis hits the head. So on this occasion, it is going to be the Jet to find the first frag, and that's a big old frag as well, because that's going to be the Chamber. That's stopping any potential progression up towards the middle of the map. You know, usually you'd have the trademark there. That's going to be taken out, and already Kaz got himself onto the site.
Yeah, and look at the trust there as well. Kaz kind of pushes on forward with the rest of that backup and trust that their teammates are going to be there to refrag. 2 versus 2, no doubt. Now, though, as the players start to push on forward, Waddle has to push forward on their own here, as the backup is a little too far behind. In fact, all the way over on that B site. See how very much split here. Chimali, I think, is looking at this one and trying to decide exactly where it is they want to push towards.
Yeah, I like it as well. I like the rotation. It's just patience to say the least. And with that Viper's Pit going down, Martz has got full control. Martz, I don't know if I like this. He does catch the player, but Jimali catches the head, and that's going to be the triple. See, I don't really get that from Martz. I kind of get what he wants to do, but he has to know that the Fade's going to either have the Haunt come back online and try and reveal his location, or have a Prowler spare at least anyway to try and spot the early bit of info. Probably wants to just try and play inside that Viper's Pit, or at least play for a little bit of a better position to aggro towards CT there. Does get picked up, does get punished, and not only are they going to lose the guns here, the side of the Vulcans, they're going to lose the round as well. And a key ult in Martz's Viper's Pit. That's not going to be online anymore. So finally, for this defensive side, a little bit of momentum that they can hopefully try to build on.
I actually do like the fact that we saw the attacking side invest that ultimate, because then it comes around quicker. Round 3, they already have access to it, might as well invest it, get it cycling back through, find themselves in a good position, and they can actually get a lot off the back of the Yoru ult, for example, getting them a lot of information and can set up for what we now know is a plethora of fragments for the squad. As Waddle starts to go gung-ho into the opposing backline to get that information, to make the calls and set up for the rest of their team as they force everyone pretty much off of this A site where they can, apart from right towards the back. And they're going to commit towards that. He's right in the right position, but he whips everything.
No, I like it though from Azzy. So smart. I think he spotted Waddle pop that decoy down. So no avail this time for the sneaky Yoru in the ult, but Jordan does spot the info onto Kaz, although the spike is down. This is a very, very tough spot for this Vulcan side to try and hold on to. Luckily though, for Fury is going to have the rendezvous to dance his way out of trouble. Flash does come through. Louis can't find one. Bomb's there to trade. And just like that, it's all up to Mertz. No shots land in the Sheriff. There's only one Sheriff in this town, and it's going to be the Viper of Dom. Vandal in hand. Kill secured. Second on the board.
Yeah, I think the really interesting part kind of about this for me as well is looking at these 4 duel, well, 3 to 4, depends on what you really consider Chamber, as I often kind of look at him as a duelist. Is the variety of utility they've got. They've got access to the Leer, they've got access to the flashes from Waddle. But other than that, they've kind of got a couple of smokes from the Jet. They're just lacking so much. If they were running something like the Phoenix, you at least have ways to kind of push on in and provide area denial and provide extra kind of extra space with that wall. But they've chosen a lot of very utility-lacking agents, and I mean, they're really feeling the pain for it. It's been a lot of great play around all of those items that are available. Lewis isn't even hitting the shots. That's brutal to see.
Oh, it's a nightmare, to say the least, but Lewis might not have hit the shots, but Jordan definitely has. Finds the first, second secured, although Kaz is there to trade, not before Azzy can find the refrag, and, well, it is a 3 for the price of 2 trade here, and for this Vulcan side, that early momentum has been absolutely ripped apart and shattered in their faces, as it's all up to Martz with just the Ghost in hand, trying to snatch the life away from any of these Birmingham players. And I think as he's cutting onto where he is, he's just waiting, is going to spot, reveals the location, pops the shot. He's got 2 players set up on this B site. Should be a third quite convincingly here for this Birmingham side.
Yeah, it's not really in the best of spots. I mean, they got some decent damage down. But again, with this squad, I really think you want to be winning some of these early rounds. You need that momentum to keep on going. You need to keep up that pressure. And they've been slipping up a couple too many times. Left. It seems like it was a bit of a gritty play, and, well, maybe, just maybe, unless they really start to sort things out, they've caught themselves over-aggressing in a lot of these situations and losing players for no reason.
And this is the problem with running that triple duelist team comp, right? Like that's the issue that you're going to have. You're sort of forced into playing that aggressive style of play. You've got the likes of a Reina and a Yoru who you want to try and play off the flash, either a pop flash from the Yoru or a flash through the wall with the Leer for the Reina to try and pop a frag and then dismiss their way, or pop the Devout to keep themselves alive on site. But, you know, if you shut that first initial bit of aggression down on that entry, you know, the tides almost instantaneously swing and go into your favor, right? So I think this side of Birmingham are doing a great job of just shutting this Preston aggression down right now. And unfortunately, so far, the side of the Vulcan, they've not found any answers.
Not even when they've been using some of those ultimates, it hasn't been enough to really push on through. Jordan picks off Team Fury again, and Lewis doesn't even look around, does not know the players, just waiting around the corner with Martz off the board as well. This post-spawn situation is looking more dire by the second.
Oh, for Kaz, really has to go huge here. Has got the Empress, but it's almost burned. Almost waited, however, Waddle does find one. It's going to be Azzy who drops. Lewis is there, but not before the refrag and trades come through. It's going to be Kaz who falls as well to the Empress. Unfortunately, this Queen isn't going to be reigning too high, at least in this round anyway. The defuse is stuck. McWiff finds the headshot with the operator. 4 back-to-back rounds, a quadra of rounds in a row for this Birmingham side. Answer back from the 2 successive start for this side of Preston. And you've got to say, right now, Preston, it's almost like they've run out of ideas inside the first 6 rounds here, Rook. They've got to do something.
Yeah, honestly, I'm really kind of disappointed because this comp can function. Look, it's not amazing. I'm not going to lie to you and say, actually, this is a unique comp. Well, it is unique, but it has its kind of power level. And what it needs to do, power points, it needs to do is it needs to push through, be aggressive, hunt down. You don't play post-plant situations like you're a comp with a Sova, with a KO, with all of this extra utility set up. Because you don't have it. You need to be aware of that and play to your outs. Right now, they're trickling on out into the open and not even winning their duels. The fact that Marks is not with the rest of the team pushing forward, that's got to sting.
Well, I think the issue what they're doing is they're sending the 3 duelists over towards the site and the main choke point on the entry to try and find the distraction and the entry onto the site to cause a little bit of chaos. And then they're sending the chamber and it's the Viper, right, that they're playing with as well. So they're sending the controller player and the other Sentinel player into towards the middle of the map, which is great if you get complete control of, because that player can just really set up and play sneaky beaky like in the middle of the map. But if you lose them early on, guess what? That's going to be the smoke gun from the Viper. It's going to be the trademark to hold the flank and any potential clutch factor of the chamber eliminated. And you're pretty much stuck in the entry point and the choke to the site unless you are doing what Waddle is. And he's going to find his second in the round. It's going to be Jordan who falls. And it's all up to Chamali on site to try and go huge.
I mean, we're proving it right here. It can work. When they find their own opportunities, when they make their own plays, it's great. But oftentimes we've seen these duelists locked behind a position which they can't really assault because they don't have the utility to set up for them. Now they're playing 2 versus 2 again. Knife goes deep and extra utility goes out here as well. Waddle getting a lot of information with the team, potentially looking to make this dimensional drift go hard. But with one already gone, it looks like they may not even need it. Dom gets a good shot, but he's stuck on out. He still gets the spray. This is just going oh so badly for Birmingham.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, you can't allow Dom to swing out and find the second. Yes, you know he's low, you try and swing, but at the range, you've got to be landing the shots. Dom finds the first, second is going to be confirmed as well. 8-4 start for the Viper. Fantastic stuff at the moment. And yes, okay, we saw the likes of Waddle and Louis. They were opening up the frags eventually towards, you know, CT and the middle of the map. I think it's just it's that after plant hold that this side is struggling at the moment, and the retake potential with the utility for the side of Birmingham is just a little bit too strong at the moment here. And the side of Preston, they just can't seem to be living with what this defensive side are throwing them. But they are going to try and answer back with the tour de force.
Well, indeed. I mean, we were talking about the utility. Tour de force can completely deny by just, you know, hitting the headshots. But that utility is so important in those retakes and in those post-spawn situations, because otherwise you're not really going to be able to control that area. They can take a place, but they sure as heck can't hold it. Martz tries to hold down, but with some Waddles backup, they do actually manage to save themselves, and this push towards B does look at least positive for now, as the spike is pushed over there. Lewis is going to be that first point of contact potentially for Chamali here, but the spray goes through the boxes. However, the spray from Lewis is the first thing that kills.
Yeah, it's the dash as well, I think, onto the site, or by the wall, rather, should I say. That kind of just threw the line of sight off for Chamali. McWiff still tour de force in hand, unfortunately not using it to any force for his reckoning at the moment. But speaking of tour de force, speaking of Devil and want to show up, it's going to be Fury. The right click from Lewis after the initial head think comes through with the classic. Azzy probably tries to save, doesn't get the chance to. Triple up for Lewis finally here. The side of Preston, they come back alive here on Breeze.
They are having to invest a lot to get these rounds, though. That's the important thing, is they're chucking out some of these ultimates. They're getting aggressive, and even then, it's when they win the duels. It is a little bit win more in that regard, but hell, if you find a couple of those frags, you really can run them over. I think, again, the problem right now that I want to see from the squad, and we've shown that they can do it right there, when Lewis is the one in charge, they go aggressive, they take space, they take control, and that's so good for this squad, for this composition. They just need to keep on doing that. Get that first pick, and then from there, well, it's your opponent who's going to have to ride that roller coaster all the way down.
I mean, yeah, the question is, though, is can this side of Preston consistently take rounds? We saw them do it on the first two, but then once a little bit of pushback was given, they seem to crumble. They've now got themselves a third on the board, and on Breeze, listen, if you get yourself 4 or 5 rounds, your job's done, basically, on the attacking side. So, with that Viper's Pit invested, they have to win this next round, though. They cannot afford to give up, 1 or 2 many more rounds here on this attacking half, especially when you're investing so much util.
Fragment gone early, teleports out just in the nick of time. As Evex does not quite manage to find that frag, but Kaz is waiting in the wings as Martz falls, and well, you see the smoke starts to settle. Does use the dismiss to just about get out of dodge. Storm swaps over weapons, tries to keep up that pressure, but look, this goes all up to Kaz, but unfortunately it's no dice. And another round on the board for Preston.
Both times the Viper's Pit's been invested on the attacking side, they've lost a round. And that, I think, kind of tells you the tail of the tape, right? And the way in which this game has gone, at least so far for the first half here on Breeze. It's anything that the side of Preston do, it's the side of Birmingham who just almost effortlessly find the answer to it. And again, I really think it's coming down to this team comp. The Afterplant hold, they've just got not enough util to keep them off the site with. Even inside the Viper's Pit, for example, yes, you've got the snake bites, which will also instantly kill someone because the player will drop down to, relatively low HP from the decay. You've got the trademarks to slow on the traps as well. But if these flashes go down for the duelists, there's really not too much more to work with here for the side of Preston. So far, you would say definitely so good for this Birmingham side. And they're looking to try and at least secure the first half win by taking this round.
Indeed, McWeth looking for a chance to peek on out, find something, but Lewis is that first one to find the frag. The flick is not there, and this Jet really starts to ramp up yet again. Look at that, the dash forward, aggressive. Love to see that, taking space, taking control. Now you've got control of the rest of the middle of the map, you can really start to exert your pressure on the other side. So is this composition that is, well, right now their foil, but it can also be their chance to make some absolute magic happen. As it does get the one, but only the one. Importantly, it was that controller, right?
Spike planted.
Decoy that comes through from Waddle. Does get spotted. Jordan is going to find one, but as he falls to the operator of Kaz, they know exactly where Dom is, but he does give himself a little bit of a better chance in the 2 versus 1. Smoke screen does go up. Can he find the tags through the smoke? Flash comes through. Is going to delay this retake and vision a little bit more, but Waddle holds strong, holds the aim steady, holds the Vandal well, finds the kill. And well, for this side of Preston, you got to say, could that be the first little bit of momentum and the first few rounds trample together to find, the kills?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was good for them to be able to find some of these. They've got access to a decent number of ultimates as well to really back them up. So I'm very happy with that one. We are currently having some issues with our stream for our observer. Unfortunately, their Wi-Fi has crashed. Unfortunately, ISPs do be like that, and we do have technical issues. I myself, not free of sin, frankly. I had some real issues earlier today, so please be aware that does happen, and we are very sorry. We'll get back to the game as soon as we possibly can. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, obviously, but I mean, in terms of the game, it's been quite a fiery start, right? For sure. It has been explosive because, I mean, those rounds where Birmingham are actually picking up the wins. By the way, just so you guys are aware, this is Birmingham's map. So it's more interesting that they're picking up this comp. It's not like their last-ditch attempting to win this map that they didn't really expect to go through the bans. They want to be playing Breeze with this comp. And maybe things will change on the defending side. And we have seen spotlights of what this composition can do, but they need to be pushing that more. They need to go hard, or frankly, they will be going home. It is playoffs now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we are going to take a quick break while we do get these issues sorted between the players. We do apologize once again. And after the short break, hopefully a short break, we will be back relatively soon for some more Valorant Arena Clash.
You make me feel like a bad girl. You make me feel like a bad girl.
can you miss it? We're back. And so's the end of the round, apparently. We do apologise. Again, it was literally a quick drop in an issue, but we are back into the game. And it looks like we're going into the final round of the first half as well, as Dom secures a triple to find the defuse. And you've got to say, Dom, on this Viper Rook so far, has probably been the standout player.
Probably. I mean, they're sitting at 14 frags on a controller with 5 of those assists as well. They really have been fantastic at shutting down some of these pushes, but also on those retakes, which can be very difficult for a controller. So I'm absolutely down for how Dom is playing so far. Interested to see how that's going to kind of move on over to the attacking side. I do think it becomes a little bit more difficult, but if you've got aim like that, it might not be such a problem. Speaking of aim, I'm excited to see how Louis is going to use his blade storm. Last time they used it, didn't quite go as planned, but they've started to step up their game and really show the passion that they have and the, well, fragging ability that they have on this Jett.
Yeah, and, you know, Jett's one of those agents that I think is real confidence-based in terms of the way you perform on her. I mean, judging off my ranked games, it seems like I never have confidence on her because I cannot play her to save my life. But when you've got a good Jett player on your team, it just opens up so many doors for success, right?
It really does. And speaking about opening up doors, Marts gets a frag they really shouldn't have been picking up there with the usage of that Sheriff. And with Team Fury taking down Hazix as well, those initiators are leaving one by one. And then that utility will really start to fall. Dom just barely, well, for still alive, but unfortunately cursed them. And it's 2 versus 4 on this retake now.
2 versus 4. Numbers advantage in favour of Preston. A 7-5 half though, Rook, isn't the worst of spots to find yourself in, especially after, you know, having a 2-round deficit to start with anyway. So you're something you'll definitely take going in at the half. Louis finds a snappy headshot, so does Kaz. And we're going in at 7-5 here, which isn't probably a bad scoreline if you're the side of Preston.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's pretty good for Preston. It could be certainly worse. I think for Birmingham, I think that's the important thing to kind of highlight is normally you don't get necessarily so many rounds on the attack as you kind of get here, depending on the composition. So that would be great. You pick up 5 rounds. The problem is that their composition, unless I'm wrong and they really pop off on this defense, is not exactly geared for defense. As we said before, they can take space fine. That's not a problem. The problem is holding it afterwards. And I think there's going to be a lot of focus, I think, for Preston on where the Viper isn't. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic in how they choose to attack sites.
Yeah, I mean, look, Viper on Breeze is almost an essential, right? I think it has become an essential at this point where you rarely see team comps without a Viper on. And guess what? When a Viper's got some util to work with and a frenzy in hand, it seems like the work can get done. Pop flash with the KO comes through. Kaz can't find any, but it doesn't matter because Marks is there to be a helping hand that his Reina needs. Waddle steams on forward. The frenzy doing so much work in the hands of the Viper. We mentioned the Viper for the side of Birmingham was really the standout player, but this time on defense with the Quadra, it's Preston's Viper that's doing all the work here. The frenzy in hand seems OP.
Yeah, I mean, those pistol rounds are really good for them in the first half as well. It's not a surprise to see them succeed there. I would say it is ill-advised to push into a Viper wall like that. And they decided to just go for it. I think you take that round slowly, maybe reevaluate your options, and it goes very differently. Maybe still definitely in the favor of Birmingham, but I think that certainly could have gone better, and then maybe they'll learn from their mistakes in how they choose to kind of evaluate different sites and priorities going through on this game. As they choose for a slightly more open approach, they're looking for a bit of that mid control, even with inferior weaponry in this here round. You can see Dom already sneaking up with a little bit of backup from Jordan W. They could take control of this mid. They just need to deal that one pain in the backside. Well, 2 now, as Waddle gives some support.
Don't know if calling the classic at close range with the right click is inferior weaponry. It's a dangerous tool to have, to say the least. But no, of course, with the Vandals in hand, you would say that all things steer towards Preston to win this round. 46 HP, though, is all that's left on Marks. Does get tagged up. Jordan also tagged quite heavily. So although the weaponry and numbers advantage is in favour here for the defensive side, you've got to say it's not the easiest of rounds to still see out, but as I say, that 2 more players drop, and in the 5 versus 2, it should be all she wrote, unless Chamali and Dom have other ideas. That's going to be 2 rifles that drop, and with 1 player March still low, luckily Louis there in mid to gain control. It's all up to Chamali And with 30 seconds left, you've got to say this should be all even Stevens and all tied up at 7 apiece.
Chamali's position known. Team Fury takes him out. And yeah, I actually really like the fact that we're seeing this kind of play come on through. The communication, the coordination from the defending side, from Birmingham, is actually really good. It was a bit amusing to me that the two duelists called for the Viper to be the one to peek and kind of get aggressive, but at least that idea is there, right? They're communicating properly. They're saying, hey, this person's here. You can pick them as we lock down other angles. We're giving you the support that you need to succeed. And that sort of communication is so key, so much more than being able to necessarily put down the utility. If you can coordinate, it makes such a massive difference. And it could be what picks them up a lot of success. This attacking round, Lewis very sensibly has to dash out of that one ASAP.
Yeah, luckily the dash was activated from Lewis. If not, he'd be dashing into his death, to say the least. There's 3 players from the side of Birmingham lie in wait. But Louis, though, I like the re-aggression. I don't think the side of Preston are going to realise they're not. The spray transfer from Louis. The aggression shut down, though, by Jordan. And that could be, though, a little bit of a tough spot that the side of Preston find himself in. But, well, speaking of doubles, Jordan's going to answer back with 2 of his own. Does find a tag onto Team Fury, but he's down to 20 HP. Look at Kaz, though. The thorn in the side from Preston is going to retrowel. Finds the second, finds the third. Kaz is turning up. 8 on the board.
As I said before, if there's an advantage, this team cannot physically lose it. With the amount of duelists that they have available to them, space is just theirs to take. They can get aggressive. The fact that Lewis was able to make that play individually was so fantastic. And it is the individual play that we were highlighting right at the start that is needed to come through. And on this defense, they've looked far more comfortable. They're going to move up likely to 9 rounds here against an eco buy. And the attackers, I mean, Preston are looking a little bit declawed, at least early on here. Sure, they've had some rounds where they've had the inferior weapon. They've not had the advantages at all. But pushing onto the site certainly can be very difficult.
Yeah, well, the Vulcans at the moment, they're looking fantastically strong, to say the least. They look like a complete different team here while playing on the defensive side of things. And you've got the operator in the hands of the chamber. It buys into your confidence a little bit. Louis, though, does find the first, gets shut down. That's going to be the stinger in the hands of Azzy. But guess what? Here comes Kaz. Snaps onto the first. Operator has gone out of the hands of the chamber. Chamali is going to be spotted from that pop flash. Kaz is going to swing. Oh my god! Kaz, the aggression is absolutely ridiculous. Finds the snapshot as he trades, but the refrag comes through. Can we check that this Vulcan side hasn't subbed any players out at half-time, because they are a different team here now that they're on the CT side?
Snapshot was right, because that surely was picture perfect from this squad. The way they got aggressive, the way that Kaz is confident, and you were talking before about Jet as a confidence agent. I think FPS is in general, right? With your aim, it's massively a confidence thing. If you're hitting your shots, you are hitting your shots. And right now, Kaz, Louis, Waddle, Marks, and even Team Fury to some extent, I'm not quite positive yet, but I'm sure they'll make it there, are certainly feeling like they're going to be able to do that. And this has been some great aggression from them so far. Finally back in the rifles, though, for Preston. They want to try and deny this space. Push on towards the A site where there's no Viper. They know the drill, and this time, we've got to make sure that drill gets all the way through.
Yeah, I'm surprised they've not tried to get the Viper's pit out onto the site as well, no. And that's exactly why Louis is going to find one. It's going to be the shots onto Azzy through the smoke. That's why you usually try to plant safe towards the back of the site these days, because it's such an easy angle to find the kill through. Flash is out, but Look, Whiff is going to find one, finds the second, although Waddle's there to try and play devil's advocate. He's going to end up falling as well. Dom, Louis have to try and stay alive, and in Dom we trust because he picks up 2. And with Fury, 5 HP and more than a dream, but he's got the operator to work with. He knows Dom surely is just going to try and bounce this smoke off. Is Fury sticking? Hits it half, he whiffs the shot! Fury, he knows that Dom's going to swing eventually. I'm not too sure he's going to hold his nerve. He misses again. Dom swings. Triple up for the 3rd round in a row from the Viper. Finally, the momentum has been broke. The streak of rounds has eventually ended at 5. And for the first time in the second half, we see the Preston side find their first.
Fantastic utility usage, honestly, from Preston there to be able to pick up that round. Honestly, I thought it was all going to fall apart when Azzy accidentally let go of 4, like right at the end of the defuse, and then got sprayed through by Lewis in the aftermath of it. That was the most unfortunate thing I've seen in a while, actually. But they still managed to claw it back. Again, the fact that they've got access to all of these initiators and such means that controlling areas is easy. That's what they want to do. So these post spawns are definitely going to be in their favor. It's up to the defending side to really never let them get there.
Here comes the aggression line from the attacking side. It's going to be met by Louis, though. It is going to be the null command, which keeps the KO alive, but he's knocked momentarily. Waddle's going to find the second as well, making a triple for Waddle as the KO's eventually eliminated. But Jordan trying to play sneaky through mid. He gets spotted, and although Chamali finds one in the 4 versus 1, the hype train for the side of Preston doesn't last very long, because yes, Chamali's good for 2, but not before Marks can find the trade and find the temp on the board for the side of Birmingham. And this Vulcan squad, honestly, they are looking formidable. They're making this... Can we explain, please, here, Rook, how they didn't make the triple duelist aggression work on defense, but they're making it look so easy on the defensive side of things?
Well, I actually think it's down to the fact that this team is communicating a lot better on the defense, right? They were coordinating in those first 2 rounds we saw on the defense. They're calling out to each other, hey, I'm pushing here, could you push there? And I can't hear the comms, but I assume they're pretty solid. Also, you know what? They're having a hot streak, and that's absolutely what they need. Marks gets a little bit too big for his boots there, unfortunately, and goes down. But Shaw gives it a good old-fashioned college try. Maybe pick that one up, but look who's waiting in the wings. Lewis is right here, looking to try and get something going, but their wings won't be clipped just yet. It's a double spray down, and everything is handled to them on a silver platter.
Handed on a silver platter, and everything's going well and great at the moment for the Vulcans. But for the other side, it's despair and dismay, to say the least. Nothing seems to be clicking. Nothing seems to be working for this attacking side, though. You've got to say, for Preston, they've got to invest this Viper's Pit in this next buy round. It's probably going to be the last chance they get to use it if they lose it. Surely, you invest the Nightfall to get yourself onto B or A site, and it follows through with the Viper's Pit, but they're not. They're so split apart here. I'm not too sure if they're going to try and sell a fake over towards A and try and slow play the spike. But look at the aggression from the Birmingham side in towards Elbow. They're going to cotton this out almost instantaneously.
Oh my god, look at that. That's a fake Yoru as well. He can turn around. Oh no, I'm blind. Actually, it wasn't real, was a real one. But we'll actually manage to reposition, give them a chance to push on forward. Lewis in the backfield, really looking to play distraction. But Team Fury is the one who's going to capitalize on that with Jordan W. taken out yet again as Dom and Azzy hiding, cowering in this position as the rest of the map is just taking control of him. With Dom dead, position now known for Azzy, the last one remaining with the spike, it certainly ain't looking pretty for the rest of this squad as it goes to match point. And Birmingham, I was dissing you, but battered and bruised still, they managed to turn a corner when they come to this defensive side, and it's working wonders.
It's working wonders. Fantastic, magnific, beautiful, whichever way you want to describe it, Rook. It can't get much better for this Birmingham side than it is right now. They are just absolutely slamming the door shut in the face of Preston at every given opportunity. And as they advance onto map point here, in what is the first step of the playoffs for both of these teams, Birmingham, they're continuing from their 4-1 start throughout the initial weekly stages. And you know what, let's not forget, the only squad that this Birmingham side has lost to has been the Leicester Raptors, right? The scavenger squad. And they're sitting at 5-0 right now, so that's not a bad name to have on your loss record, to say the least. Louis does get a little bit too hyper-aggressive, go towards middle of the map. There's going to be Azzy who punishes him, and Chamali follows suit. But guess what? If you find 2, ladies and gentlemen, the side of Birmingham, they're going to go and find all 5, because Marks and Team Fury come through for the kills. Fantastic stuff here from the side of Birmingham. And honestly, Rook, you got to say, where did that come from Birmingham? Because they looked a little bit shell-shocked at times on the attacking half. Do you think it was those few rounds where we got them back to 7-5 to put a decent number on the board? That's where the momentum came from?
I think that, and they really started to be warmed up after that one. You look at the first bloods as well, and it kind of shows exactly what this squad was looking to do. 5 first bloods on Lewis, 3 on Waddle, 4 over on Muds. Not a normal one at all, but this team was looking to play aggressive, take advantages, and push them to the absolute limit. When they got those advantages finally, because they're on that defensive side, they felt at home, and the coordination was there, the communication, and everything else worked out fantastic for them.
Well, we're going to have map number 2 coming up in just a few short moments. I don't know about you, but I need to go and lay down on the sofa or the chair behind me after that manicness on Breeze. But don't go anywhere. Go get yourself some refreshments. And when I say snacks, I don't mean me and Rook, because we're the biggest snacks of them all. We already know that, all right? But either way, get yourself some refreshments. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're heading into map number 2 for the first stage of the playoffs.
Me feel like a bad girl. Feel like a bad girl.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Belong Arena Clash of Valorant Week 6, Week 1 of the Players I'm Recommend, joined by John P, as we are getting ready for our second game of today's series between Birmingham and Preston. And it started off strong for Preston with a strange composition for Birmingham. But, well, Birmingham ended up looking pretty good on the map, didn't they, John?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a mixed bag of emotions, to be totally honest with you. On the defensive side of things, I would have thought he probably would have struggled more on the defensive side of things than on the attacking side of things, because they had that triple duelist setup, which it kind of rewards high aggressive play. But it was almost like they played their attacking half like they were the slower paced defensive team, but played their defensive half like they were the faster paced attacking team, and it seemed to work out well for them, and they made it work eventually. But listen, we're going to be headed over to Haven now, which is a map that it plays similar to Breeze in the fact that it's a little bit more, you know, on the larger sides of a map, and, you know, those long windy flank routes, and I think control of the middle of the map on Haven towards B site and garage double doors is just so important. But we'll have to wait and see. I think the team comps and agent selects will have a real big part on how this map plays out.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I think the other part of it is whether one of these teams is still running hot. I think Birmingham really could be in a position to just still pick up a decent number of wins, right? They looked good when it came to individual skill, and that translates more than anything over from map to map to map. And now as they're moving to their opponent's map pick, well, they might just still be able to find those frags initially and kind of just run on from that.
Yeah, I think it's... Again, yeah, I think I really want to talk about the team comps once we get into agent select to see if, you know, triple duelist on a map like Haven can really work. It really can. You'll be surprised with the amount of times we'll see a double duelist setup or a triple duelist setup on Haven, and someone just have the likes of a smoke or a chamber, for example, to, you know, play on two of the three sites. But yeah, I'm excited nevertheless. And for the side of Preston, they've got to answer back after Birmingham sort of had things the majority of their own way for you know, sort of 2/3, 3/4 of that map. So we're going to learn a lot about the resilience and the fight here from the side of Preston for sure.
Yeah, and going onto their map pick, they should be a lot more resilient for them. They should be able to kind of hold out a little bit more. I mean, their comp looked good. They showed us the strength of it. The problem is when they had to do those attacking, it didn't quite work out for them. So maybe because they weren't so comfortable on Breeze, and I do think Breeze is a map which can be very difficult if you don't have an idea of what you're doing there. Yeah. They might be able to have a lot more success here on Haven, especially if they're focusing on those initiators, which I think, again, very strong over on Haven in kind of terms of opening up those sections which you kind of talked about early, for example, like the garage, like mid, and like the kind of general routes onto the map, onto the sites.
Yeah, we'll put it this way. Look, if you're playing on the defensive or the attacking half on a map like Haven, and you're running triple initiator, for example, it's, you know, it's going to be hard for a team to try and either stop your aggression onto the site, or it's going to be hard for them to try and get onto the site, because on Breeze, yes, it could have worked and it didn't. But on a map like Haven, I feel like the choke points are a little bit more tighter. They're a little bit more close quarter and favor those short range, you know, tight angle engagements, which if you can play off a pop flash just works the world of good. And you got to say, the initiators, the Sky and the KO, they pop flash relatively well. The Prowler use out of the fade as well was pretty damn decent. It's, yeah, I think it's just going to come down to a bunch of if, buts, and maybes, really, right? That's sort of what we're waiting to see.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I think the big problem for me is whether we're going to have a But basically, I think the important part was, right, you got 3 initiators. Now, initiators are great, but they have to set the utility into the right place. They have to take some time to get it there. Now, if you're running a lot of duelists, you can kind of pit them at the post, catch them beforehand, and we saw that a lot. It's whether we do see them get so aggressive in the same way otherwise. Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, I'm excited to get into it, to say the least. I think if we do go to the full 3 maps, I'm just scrolling up on our document here, casters prepared as ever for a broadcast. We are going to be, oh my, wait, are we going to Pearl? I think.
Pearl was the third map. Yeah, wow.
The
That's
third and
exciting.
final map. So I'm excited to see Pearl potentially if we get there. Let's not sort of, jump the gun and bite the bullet and say that we are definitely going to have the third and final map. If that map number 1 was anything to go by, we don't really know what to expect. And that's sort of what we love about Arena Clash, right? It gives these players their first opportunity to, experience potential competition. But not only that, it gives us the first time as casters to see, some potentially new crazy thing like new agent comps, new strats run, and bizarre map picks, for example, on teams that. Yeah, so it's one thing I love about Arena Clash, and I'm really excited for it. But I think we are going to be heading on over into the game relatively soon. We are going to be going through the agent select phase with you here. Talk to me here, Rook. Let me know what we expect to see on Haven.
I mean, we're expecting to see very similar comps, right? You need to have that focus on the initiators. And actually, I love the fact that we're seeing both teams pick up that Killjoy early on here. I think it's absolutely fantastic on this map. Shuts down a potential site quite well and also has access to great retake tools. That's why I think it can be particularly effective. We are having some technical issues, which is why you're seeing that clock not go down. But we will hopefully get them sorted as soon as we possibly can. I do like as well that Mart is showing us that Astra. This is an agent that I absolutely love. If you're confident and can play this, please be playing it. Because even after it's got nerfed, I think on maps like Haven, it can have such a wonderful effect in terms of splitting up the map, providing utility to your team from all over the place and really lead forward.
Well, if my calculations will most likely be correct, we'll probably see Kaz on Reyna and Louis on Jet again. Or actually, no, we're going to see Kaz on Chamber. So there you go, John P. What do you know? You've only been casting Valorant since the release, and yeah, explains why the big boys haven't hived in a while, right? But either way, we are going to be hopefully heading into the game relatively soon for you. We do apologize about the issues. Listen, if you guys have been around in esports for a while, or if you're newbies, Crash Course 101, tips and tricks with John P and Rook, there will be tech delays, okay? Get used to it. That's why you keep all the fantastic supplies on board as quickly as possible, and keep yourself entertained from the offset and throughout. But we are going to be heading into the game relatively soon. Rook, give me your predictions. Are we going to see a 2-0 for the side of the Vulcan, or are we going to see the side of the Dauntless bring it back?
I think Vulcan will be able to take it. They've really shown us a lot of fantastic fragging potential, and I think that's one of the most important things, right? Like, I can focus on tactics, but much akin with broadcast issues, no plan survives third contact with the enemy. And I think it's going to be really important to focus on who's going to be able to find those first frags. And I think from there, a lot of the pressure will steamroll. Not in the same way that we saw on the previous map, but much akin to it at the very least.
Well, we are, again, experiencing a few technical difficulties. We do apologize. We can hear game sound, but we cannot see game. We will try the best to cast through audio only, but we aren't too sure where they're going to be on the map, all right? So if we come back to the game and we're completely wrong, it's the thought and the effort that counts, all right? That's all that matters. But either way, Rook, we are just a few moments away from getting into this game. But, of course, let's talk about the Arena Clash as a whole. First stages of the playoffs, of course, they are trying to play for their spot, in the late stages of competition and that grand finals. For a side like Birmingham, who are now 1-0 up in their first playoff game, is that going to be a weight on their shoulders, and are they going to feel a little bit of pressure? Or is the side of Preston going to be the ones that have the pressure and that added incentive of, they might be going home sooner rather than later?
I think there certainly could have been some pressure if they'd lost on their first map. But because they won and because they really made that kind of, not a comeback, it's not like they were ever too far behind, but certainly a definitely redoublement of their efforts, and they really got into the swing of things. I think the mental right now, at least to Birmingham, is high as can be. I think they're perfectly fine and very happy to go guns a-blazing into this one. Looking at Preston, though, I do think they've got to be a little bit worried. And that, in case you've never seen it before, is the option screen. But we will be getting back on into game in just a second, as now we're on pause. The time is ticking on, and players have got their guns, at least their pistols, ready to kick things off.
Yes, no more caster. Hurry up and start games in the chat, please. We've had enough tonight, all right? We're just the innocent ones with the pretty faces and annoying voices that keep you entertained every fortnight on a Wednesday, all right? So leave us alone. We're sorry, okay? But no, of course, shout out to our production team. They obviously work endlessly and tirelessly to try and get things sorted as quickly as possible. And well, here comes the aggression from this attacking side of Preston, but it's going to be instantly met from the side of Birmingham. It's going to be Marks with the frenzy. We know how much he can make it work.
I mean, they've already made one frag here and a couple in the other game. That concussion won't stop them from getting that spike down, but Mars just barely doesn't claim any more name. We'll get some damage and, just barely doesn't finish off that spray down. Kaz has to go daycare, wants to try and find that. He gets ahead right off of that jet.
It's going to be a 2 versus 2. Make it a 2 versus 1. Make it a none as Kazamart's fine 2 for 2. And they're going to find the first round on the board from the side of Birmingham. And it looks like that steam train is very much on track through to the next stage of the playoffs. Or, okay, look, it's only been one round, but sometimes I bite the bullet and back the boys when I think they're playing well. And at the moment, I think Birmingham, they just look absolutely lights out. Or at least they have done for the past 15 or so Valorant rounds since that half of Breeze did switch over to their defensive side of things. But nevertheless, Preston did a great job of finding the entries and getting onto the site. But again, it was that post-plant hold for the side of Preston on their offense that they not the post-plant hold, sorry, it's just dealing with that pressure on the retake, right, and the aggression that the side of Birmingham gave to them. Because if you remember on Breeze Rook, on the defensive side, Birmingham, they just played so aggro, and the side of Preston just could not live with them.
No, they couldn't deal with the pressure, but look at that there. Spray down after spray down. Those rifle buy-ups in second rounds are working wonders for them. They lose one player, sure, but only one. And Marks, invested a little bit there, but doesn't lose all too much. And they're looking pretty comfortable now. I actually really like as well that we're seeing more standard comp, especially here on Haven. I don't want to see all those duelists. Look, it worked out, but I think lightning doesn't necessarily always strike twice. So I love the fact that they're bringing this out, and I especially love the fact that Lewis and Waddle are playing as that combo, right? They've got the breach and they've got the jet, and they've got a lot of ways to get a lot of control over the map. So keep an eye on them, especially on the attacking side, and seeing how they're going to go aggressive and get forward for their team. As Lewis already starts to take control of that mid area as pressure starts to go onto that C site with Waddle falling first.
Yeah, a little bit of a dry peek there from Waddle. Usually wants to peek behind the likes of a flash, and unfortunately for him, he is going to fall. But look at this though, the aggression on the flank from the jet. There's no trademark there waiting as well, but Team Fury has to be the first line of defense. Finds the second, can't snap onto the second. Sorry, it's going to be Jordan who falls. But guess what? I mentioned, look at the sneaky beaky like flank. It's going to be Louis, and Jordan's left alive with Dom on the side, but they're both a sliver and a trickle of HP. However, Dom, can he spot Mertz? 49 HP. I think he heard the player jump on up into the window. Mars, he spots the arm! He finds the no-scope on the wall bang, and Dom's going to fall. And although the spike's recovered by Jordan in the 2 versus 1, a sliver of HP. If you sneeze or cough on him, he's going to fall. Or if you've got a pistol, even better. Martz finds the kill. 3 for 3, the side of Birmingham. Well, we know sometimes it can get a little bit frosty up north, and it looks like Birmingham have proven that it's going to be a tough night's work for Preston to get back into this.
It is indeed. Honestly, I'm absolutely here for the way that Marks is getting aggressive. Lewis as well on that big old flank, really delivering for their team. I am so impressed, in particular though, by the fact that Team Fury managed to dodge the Prowler there. And as a result, Chimali communicates, okay, guys, don't worry. There's no one backside instantly. As soon as they try and swing, Team Fury plays spoiler and gets a lot hit. Waddle sets up for that push, and look at this coordination. Unfortunately, as coordinated it is, sometimes you don't hit your shots, and this time it doesn't go the way of the defending side as they lose quite a lot. The flash gives them a little bit of reprieve to get out of there, but they are a player down now, very important.
Yeah, so far so good for the side of Birmingham, to say the least. But it is the side of Preston who ask a few questions here in round number 4, and well, we are down to a 3 versus 3. The rotation over towards the seaside comes through, but Team Fury lying in wait already. Look at this. It's fantastic stuff. They have got the swarm grenades to deny the entry, and it's just such smart positional play from Fury. He finds the shot. The swing should come through. This should be the triple at least. If it's not going to be Fury's, he's got Breach there to work with. But he finds the triple. 4-0 start for Birmingham. The side of Preston Their hearts are slowly but surely going to be shattering.
Yeah, that's actually brutal to see. That was a really interesting play coming out from Lewis Waddle, and I don't know who else was pushing up. I think it was Kaz potentially there. But I love that sort of aggression to come out from them. They didn't find a lot, but what they did was push the players away from A site and right into the waiting arms of this Killjoy. Team Fury looking a lot better on this map, in my opinion, already, and I think perhaps a little bit more at home on things like
Get out of my way!
Yeah, and you know, it's a conversation we've had, right, for a while, since the likes of the Chamber and such has come into the game. Will Killjoy be meta? Will Cypher go out of meta, for example? And I think it really comes down to the clientele on the actual agent themselves as to whether or not they can make it work. But one thing that is being made to work is the Phantom in the hand of McWiff, at least for this round indeed. But again, it's just the side of Birmingham. They just seem to shut down any advances. The side of Preston Maiden, a 5-0 start here on Haven. They're trying to get this done in 2.
They are so happy to trade. They're so happy to get aggressive, and I love that from this team. They are not giving up any sort of opportunity for the opposing team to kind of take control, slow down the pace of the game. No way, Jose. They are just going for their own style of play, and Martz is absolutely sticking that through with this pickup of a judge. And I was highlighting before, right? One of the most important things is the ability to hit your shots, and right now everybody on this team is hitting their shots. It's so good for Birmingham, and maybe if they lose their momentum, if they lose this map, things don't look so good for them, but right now they're on cloud 9 and they're hitting shots like they weren't played for this one. McWiff really living up to the name there.
Yeah, he that was a correct name, I think. You know, GG's on the sidelines. But either way, it's gonna be Chimani finds one. Oh, I think he tried. Oh no, Chimani! He tried to quick switch with the drop out to the Vandal, and he ends up throwing away his stinger and whipping out the classic. Oh dear, Chimani. Social media team, can we get that posted, please? That would be fantastic. Waddle's gonna find the triple on the headshot. It's all up to Azzy. They fought. Team Fury finds the kill. 6-0 start. What a start.
I'm really not gonna lie to you, John. If I was Preston right now, I'm not gonna lie, my mental's not the best. I'd be tilt as heck. I'd be sat there like, I can't believe that just happened exactly like that. And they get aggressive on through. They use the rolling thunder. They're very happy to cycle through their ultimates. And this is something I love to see teams doing. I highlighted it in the first map. I'm so glad to see them continue to do that. Sometimes you just got to invest ultimates, secure out the round, make sure it happens. And when you're on a 6-0 streak, now's absolutely the time to do that. You don't need more to keep them going. If you lose a round, it's not the end of the world even. Kaz is trying to set up for a shot as the rest of them try to cross the paranoia. Gives them a little bit of an opportunity here. Look who's waiting in the smoke. It's Martz, and that is so unfortunate to see as Martz sets up for a chance to push on it yet again on their own, but a little bit too much distance between them and Dom.
The good thing is, though, is he was the one who actually got tagged by the swarm grenade, so it's going to allow the jet of Louis to just waltz his way through, but the steps are being made. Louis too smart, though. He checks the corner, and all the from the shadows has been invested. It hits him towards the back of the site. Louis turns away, still finds the kill as well. And although Jordan and McWiff are on the site and set up well, the defender Killjoy should come through, but Louis got to be checking calls, my man. In a 2 versus 2, it's going to come down to whether Fury can find the kill or not. He can't. The Killjoy will be destroyed. Does Waddle stick the defuse? I think Jordan thought he was. The flash comes through. Kill secured. Does he have enough time to get to the spike? I think the defuse should come through. It does more than enough time. 7-7.
Oh my lord. Again, highlight on this round, the coordination again coming through from Birmingham. Right, and I know it didn't work. I actually want to highlight this play because it's very amusing, right? There's a player up in heaven on the A site, and there's a player coming in from long to kind of give the backup. I believe the player on long was the Jet, and there was a communication there that there was a player down in hell. So they make the coordination. One of them tries to drop on down. The player who comes in from hell then gets shot by a player from the other part of the site. So you can see the communication is there, even when it doesn't work out. This is Birmingham showing that they are all on the same page. They're working as a team, and sometimes, right, you can make. I think it's really interesting. I think it was I can't remember the name. It was a League of Legends player actually who kind of highlighted this for a team. Right, you need to make the same decision. it doesn't matter. I think it might have been high in particular to go with the theme of Cloud9 from earlier. You need to make the same decision together, even if it's the bad one. You need to commit towards it. And I think while Birmingham aren't always necessarily making the right decision, and I think they are a certain decent amount of the time, they're all making it together. And that's so important in how they strike the site, in how they get aggressive, in how they make their individual plays on the backside as well. These flanks are coming together and they're well coordinated. And that's so much more than you can ask from a lot of these teams that we see here in Arena Clash. And obviously, this is only the start of playoffs, and that gets me all the more excited for what we're going to see as things go on.
Yeah, well, we are back up and running into the game. This Waddle's 9-3, Mart's 8-4. You just look at the score for the side of Birmingham. It's nothing but peace, love, and positivities, to say the least. Kaz going to still try and continue on the front foot where he can. Has got the operator in hand. He's going to swing out. Oh, sorry, the Tour de Force doesn't find any, though. But Dom, for the first time, does put the numbers advantage in favour of this side of Preston. The retake now, trying to come through. Here comes the Cosmic Divide.
I'm so sad that the Cosmic Divide has not found more. I say that, but Mars steps up to the plate and takes 2 players into their own hands. And with that sweet embrace, manages to take down another. Chimali is gone off the board, and that spike is just about down. But with only 1 player left, it's how much longer before it gets diffused around. Goes that way yet again, and look at that for Birmingham.
I think the only word I can use to describe this, Rook, is probably clinical. To be totally honest with you, it's been an absolute clinic for the side of the Brummies, to say the least. And, well, they have got the Rolling Thunder to work with now, and sitting at 8-0 on the CT on the defensive side of Haven. You know, I'm casting my mind back to the Breeze. Yes, their attacking half didn't look the best, but it didn't look half as bad as the attacking half does here on Haven for the side of Preston. What can Preston do to try and get back into this game?
Well, I think, honestly, first thing on the list is win a round. I know that sounds obvious, but you need to stop this momentum one way or another. How you do that? Play to your own pace, play to your own style, but right now they're not getting a chance to do so. Every time they try and step up, players like Mart deny them any chance of rebuttal, and you see just how strong they're getting, how aggressive, how much we're seeing being denied away from them. McWiff finally hits that shot with the Marshall there and does give their team a little bit of space, bring it to 3v3, and they even upgrade some of those weapons, but they're split up again. Look at this. Look where the spike is. Look at where Waddle is.
Waddle, unfortunately, is going to be left in the 2 versus 3. Can he find a kill? Of course he can. What kind of silly question is that, John P? Do you know nothing about the Arena Clash and Valorant, my friend? As Jordan, though, finds himself in a what I like to call a brummy sandwich here. You could say, Rook, as he's pinned between 2. I think trying to get the timing on 1, though. Surely the flash or the swing comes through to find another. He does. He spotted Dom as well. Oh, for a second I thought he was going to find the head, but Dom finds the kill. Waddle drops first on the round, though, for the side of Preston.
And yeah, that is an opportunity for maybe them to bring it back. They've got access to an ultimate, at least in the Nightfall, which could lead them towards it. And a lockdown potentially there for Dom with just 1 more frag, 1 more ultimate point coming on through. So they've got the utility. They've got access to a lot here. They just need to be able to use it. And getting that first round is very important. Maybe, just maybe, picking up that round has actually seeded itself into Birmingham's mind. They don't have to play that style. They don't have to play that pace. And, well, that could be a good omen or a bad omen for them if they decide to slow down that pace a little bit, because I think that will be much more into Preston's wheelhouse.
Well, can they build on that, though? Again, that's the question, right, that we are going to have to ask ourselves. And I think the players from the side of Preston have to ask themselves as well. There we go. That's a great start. McWiff finds the first. It's going to be Waddle who falls. Does spot 1. That's going to be the Astra. Here comes the Seekers as well. Can Kaz try to delay? He can. Martz is good for 1 as well. Louis is going to have to try and rotate his way over, but he doesn't need to when Team Fury and Kaz say, don't worry, Louis, you chill over there, my friend. You're up in smoke and in the clouds with the jet. Well, we're down here on Haven, just dropping the bodies of Preston players left, right, and centre. 13-5 for Waddle, but it was Martz and Fury who were the difference. Oh, sorry, it was Kaz and Fury that were the difference makers there, finally stepping up for their squad.
Again, a highlight on these players who didn't necessarily have the same amount of impact like Team Fury in the previous map, but has really been fantastic on this one. Love the fact that they're over on this Killjoy. I think it's working wonders for them. And a big part of what this team has been able to, why this team has been able to find so much success is because of how locked down Seaside has been consistently over the course of this map. And speaking of Seaside, in fact, they're going to push up onto it. It's the A site where the focus is, off of it. A site is going to be the focus here, and Chamali is going to be that first point of contact if someone pushes out from that short angle. But with a player down, that flank is a little bit more safe than it was before.
It's slightly safe, but the issue is when you've got Waddle clicking heads like he is, not much is safe at any time, but all of a sudden Jordan finds himself in a 2 versus 1. Oh my god, Jordan with a triple! Finds the head onto Waddle. Whoa, stun! 9-2 now. And I love how Dom's just like, question mark? Can we get a check, please? I don't know what's just happened. Well, the accuracy is what happened, to say the least.
Yeah, I was really impressed, honestly, by the fact that they got a good re-engage there. And off the back of that Rolling Thunder, multiple players wanting in. But Preston, they're starting to warm up to the idea of how this game is going to be going. It's going to be aggression, aggression, aggression. And they need to be able to deal with that on both sides of this. Interesting to see how things are going to go for them on the defense. But right now, they're looking to put down some aggression of their own. Push onto that A site, get some smokes on in with the Cloudburst. And then from there, make the push. The Nightfall doesn't hit a single thing, importantly. And the Celestial Divide the Cosmic Divide is coming on in and sending Jordan back from whence they came. They really are breaking this site up.
You should run.
Well, Spike is down. Killjoy lockdown to work through. However, the Cosmic Divide for the retake is there. Louis, how are you losing that engagement as you have the Bladestorm? He had a classic.
Swing out wide. They don't have a lot of time to work with. They need to get aggressive quick, and with this flank being completely squashed, this is so good for Preston.
It's great, it's fantastic. Kaz finds 2, Fury finds 1. Chimali is gonna fall as Kaz picks up a triple. I don't think there's enough time though, unfortunately. What do Fury drop? And a 9-3 half here on Haven. It isn't the worst, but it certainly isn't the best.
Yeah, I actually think that was an interesting round, right? If Martz had used that Cosmic Divide a little bit later, and they would have actually had players there to push on with it, that could have been a very different round. But because they used it to try and deny the plant, which frankly didn't even do anything because they didn't have the players there, it was a bit of a mistake. And as a result, they did run out of time. But a 9-3 half, I mean, it's certainly nothing to sniff at. And now they're moving on to the attack. This is going to be a very interesting one. And I think with the composition that they have, they certainly can get aggressive. And I'm looking forward, frankly, to seeing more from Lewis like we saw in map 1.
Well, I think... I'm just trying to think across the board. You've got to look at the likes of Azzy to step up here on the defensive half for the side of Preston. If they're going to want a chance and be able to do anything to get him back into this game. And yeah, I'm thinking about if they can, the side of Birmingham, if they can continue the aggression here on the attacking side that they had on the defensive half in Breeze and on the first attacking half here on Haven, it's going to be a tough task for the side of Preston to live with. And Marks finds the first. Louis there, you mentioned the aggression on the Jet, can find one as well. And then a 4 versus 2, this is not the start to the pistol round that Preston wanted to see. But Jordan does find Louis and makes their life a little bit easier.
They swapped sides, and importantly, that Spike is still in spawn. This is definitely going to be an interesting one here, but with Azzy gone, it is just Jordan left alone, and getting back that Spike is going to be a lot easier than it was prior. Waddle will be at the back of the rest of their team. They are hunting Jordan potentially here. They don't know where he is. He's going to peek out wide. The spray is going wider! And Martz does take him down. Again, you really don't want to challenge Martz with that frenzy, right?
If you want to know the pros and cons of a frenzy, just show them that clip, right? Both players have it. Jordan swings and tries to spray the gun while running around. Yeah, that's not going to work, buddy. That's a frenzy you got in your hand. And then you just see Martz swing. I don't think I've seen a better frenzy player in the world than Martz, to be totally honest with you. It's a bold statement. I'm sure there's a few pro players out there that would claim that title, but you've got the John P seal of approval, my friend. All right, I think I would love to see what stats Martz has got on the frenzy compared to rifles. All right, because I think he's probably got more frenzy kills in this series than he has got with the likes of a Vandal.
Oh wow, this is a big old BM coming through. They got Kaz saying Kaz will 1v5. As next to that rifle, let's hope he actually manages to make the splash. It'd be certainly exciting to see. Tries to get that first one, already down to 50 HP, and maybe this isn't quite going to work out for them. The BM is only good if it works, and I can tell you it didn't work.
Yeah, you know, it's all well in doing it, but if you can't back it up, you can't back it up, right? And one thing that probably the side of Preston haven't done is back themselves in any engagement, but Jordan does find a few tags and a kill, to say the least, with the no-scope of the Marshall. It's all up to them where Fury finds the kill. Could we be heading now, Rook, into the penultimate round of the night?
BM aside, BM that didn't resolve, frankly, aside, they did still pick up that round in pretty emphatic fashion. The rifle goes forward, it drops, and is in the right place for Lewis to just go, okay, I'm going to take that one, and then I'm going to take all these heads. With the rest of the team backing up as well and contesting properly on that B site, it's really good to see. This is one of the few opportunities where, with a team like this, you can actually push onto the B site. I think Astra makes executing onto that site so much easier. You can really lock off some of those key angles. It's either that, for me, or a Brimstone where you've got those really long, consistent smokes.
Well, and you know what? This is probably the only map I would love to see Astra still use, and it is still used in the highest level of play. Just because, you know, the kit is so useful. Having both Nebula smokes available, you know, within a decent period of time still is very, very useful. The gravity well, you know, wherever you're set up to lock down a choke point is really, really good. Please do not tell me that they are sending a player 1-by-1 to try and clutch this in a 1 versus 5. Oh, no, they are as well. Who's off next? Who's off next? It's the Astra. Is it the Astra? Oh, we're going in duos now. Listen, I'm all for fun and games, but when it's a playoff, you know, don't disrespect a side this bad. But Martz is up next. Oh my god, it's going to work because they're going to hear steps towards A. They think it's a fake over towards A to go towards C. The rotation comes through, but Team Fury though left alive in, well, I do say a 1 versus 5 basically, because 2 of his teammates are still sat over in towards spawn. But this is of course the bonus round, so it's all fun and games. No love lost here between anyone. 30 seconds left. They got to go, and they got to go quick.
Indeed, and with Kaz already gone, Jordan with a good shot there. It looks like this messing around isn't quite paying off for them in the same way. And the round goes the way of Preston here.
Yep. Finally, Preston looked a little bit better than they have done, but that's probably because they took 5v1 engagements every single time. Rifles in hand now, though, for the side of Birmingham, and with just 2 rounds needed to secure themselves a nice little 2-0 sweep here in the first week of playoffs, week 6 in total. It's probably not been the start to the playoffs that Preston would have wanted, right? How gut-wrenching and disappointing is this going to be for the side of Preston to try and bounce back from?
I mean, it's going to be very, very difficult to try and bounce back from, and I think you're right. It might be gut-wrenching because I don't even know if they can. Paranoia is potentially good for Jordan there, but look how Lewis just walked on by. Jordan peeks out of the smoke, but is unfortunately denied of McWiff. Is very happy to be there and ready for their team to deny. So the rest of the team starts to push up to control, looking for that mid as well, but Azzy can't find a thing because of Team Fury rounding the corner, dealing with 2. That's so big for them. They got a match point. And again, the coordination, I think, has really come to the fore here on Haven. A map where you kind of talked about right at the start has so many different angles, so many different positions to attack from, and it seems to just be the right wheelhouse for Birmingham.
Yeah, match, series, and playoff week 1 point for the side of Birmingham. And yeah, the comment you just made in terms of the team communication, right, is something that I think we've seen, you know, prove very dividend and prove to work well for the side of Birmingham. They've always got these crossfires and they're always jiggle peeking and peeking off each other's contact, and it just seems to be nothing but success for them. But here comes the aggression towards Garage. It's the first found by Waddle. Are we going sheriffs only? I think we are, and it seems to be working. Louis gonna find the first. Kaz finds the second. Not like this, Preston. Oh no, oh dear, it's heartbreaking, but the side of Birmingham are going to probably secure themselves a 13-4 round win here map win and see themselves take a 2-0 series win. Oh, there ain't no way Louis was going to try and knife him, but there you go. Kill secured, round secured, match and series secured for the side of Birmingham.
Birmingham keep themselves going on through this playoff bracket and deliver themselves into those semi-finals. An impressive performance, honestly, from them. Not one I was expecting with how things kicked off on that first map in that first half. I was a little bit Debbie Downer on them, but they made it work. And I think I really want to highlight, we were talking about the fact that the Viper for Preston looked really solid in map one. I believe that was Dom. But Martz really came to the fore in that second half and came to the fore in this map as well. Really impressed with their Astra play, and I'm so down to see more.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where things go here into the next stage of the playoffs for this Birmingham side. I really hope we get to see that rematch with Leicester because, yes, they lost 2-0 in that series, but I think they would have been disappointed with the way that series went, and I think they would have backed themselves to be better to perform against that Leicester squad than what we saw of them. But look, at the end of the day, I think Leicester are the team to beat and are the team to look out for here in these playoffs. So we'll have to wait and see sort of from around the competition this week what the results were in some of those other games, and we'll obviously see where this now leaves us, right, going into the next stage of the competition, who's going to play who and what potential matchups we might have coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to it as well. I believe we have actually had all those games finished, but we are just waiting on the results to come on through. I like the fact as well that we're seeing teams provide their own styles, and I think Birmingham really did that. And I think, as you kind of talked about before, Leicester really looked like a very individualistic team. And I think it makes it really exciting for Arena Clash. A quick note, by the way, for everyone, if you're here and you're like wondering where's the Overwatch, why is it all over? Well, first of all, we had a 2-0 and it's not Overwatch, it's Valorant. But if you're interested in that Overwatch, don't forget that on Monday there will be a run of the matches, replay of the matches that we're on today on this exact same channel. And we'll be doing the same thing for Valorant the weekend after.
Yeah. We do switch, and it's bi-weekly to say the least. So it's always nice to see that. But I think we do have the results from across the board and around, I would say around the globe, around the UK. We're only a small island here, but nevertheless, you can see for the side of Stratford Spartans, they advance through to play against that side of Leicester in the second round of playoffs after a 2-0 win against Wrexham. The game, of course, we've just seen on the stream between Preston and Birmingham is going to see Birmingham secure themselves a spot against Maiden City Bats. We've got the top 4 seeds in the top 4. Talk to me, Rick. What are we expecting out of these maps going forward?
I mean, we were expecting a lot, right? We saw Leicester Raptors Scavenger and how exciting they were to watch. But I also really want to highlight Maiden City Bat Shadow. This was such a fun team, and seeing their matchup, I believe, versus Leicester was a really interesting matchup to watch. And I hope we get to see that in the final. And if we don't, I mean, we're going to get to see an even more interesting one, because right now, I think Leicester Raptor Scavenger and Maiden City Bat Shadow really do look head and shoulders above. So it is a David vs Goliath in both of those semi-finals. So I think people are definitely going to have to keep an eye out for that one and see if we do have some upsets coming on through.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be interesting. You don't want to take your eyes off the action, to say the least, and make sure you are here for the next Valorant broadcast. It's not next week, but the week after, we will be bringing you the next stage of the playoffs. Of course, me and Rook. Hopefully, Rook, if we can continue to fix the tech issues that my partner in crime seems to have quite often. We don't think he works in cybersecurity and on IT on a daily basis, would you? But either way. But no, I'm excited. Rook, give me some closing thoughts here on what we've just seen between these two sides today. Birmingham, they just looked absolutely fantastic, didn't they?
Aggressive, dynamic, individualistic, with a side of communication. I mean, that's a recipe for a good Valorant team.
Listen, sometimes you throw a sprinkle of Initiator, a sprinkle of Duelist, a tad of Sentinel, and a touch of Controller, and sometimes you mix it all together in that big cauldron, and it brings out the perfect recipe, right? And it looks like Birmingham, they seem to be tasting juicy and fruitful, to say the least, going into those later stages of the competition. But I think we're almost almost all good and done here for the week, if I'm correct in saying that. But without further ado, make sure you're here for next week. If you want to be involved in the Overwatch 2 side of things, you won't see our beautiful faces, but you get a rest from our annoying voices for one more week. But yes, on Monday this week, Overwatch replay, like my friend Rook does say, on this exact channel. So make sure if you want to catch the action, you are here Monday for that. But until next time, from the Valorant side of things and myself and Rook, stay one tapping. Enjoy your evenings. Don't rage and lose too many ranked games in ELO. You're not myself and Rook. Have a good night. We'll see you guys next time.